All right, welcome back. Now we have to make all of our horizontal support pieces in the middle. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. It's going to be easy because we're going to model it off this first one. So we're going to come up here to, actually before we do that, let's clean some stuff up. We didn't name these. Let's clean them up. Let's make this the top, and let's make this one the bottom. That way we can keep track of what's what. All right, so now we're going to do a create pattern, rectangular pattern. We're going to do it with this piece. And on direction, make sure it says bodies here. And on direction, we're going to choose sort of this vertical direction. Any line that's vertical. You can choose this blue one for vertical, or you can choose one of these lines that's vertical. When you do that, you get a nice down arrow here. Now you can see we're making those sides over and over again. Well, the middle pieces, just like the side pieces, is different than the top piece. So we need to just make one of them to start with. So I'm going to change my quantity here down to 2. That means I have 2 copies of it. And my distance, I need to change it to height plus a thickness. And I'm using plus right now because the arrow started out in the down direction. So when you're going with the arrow, it's positive. Against the arrow would be the negative numbers. Enter and enter. So that one's right where that's supposed to be. We just made our first middle. Now our middle piece needs to be a little different than the top piece. For one, I can't slide it into these slots, so I need to make tabs out the back, just like I made tabs about the back of this one. And then the other difference is, notice how this piece and this piece are passing through each other. So we need to cut like a slot here and a slot here so that they slide together like this. So we'll do those 2 things. We'll start with the back tabs and work to the slots. It'll be easier that way. Okay, so I need to go back to home. And then I'm going to create a sketch right here in this, and I need to turn everything off. So vertical, back, top, bottom. Oh, and this is top 1. So let's figure out what this thing is and name it before we go any farther. So everything's back on. This one right here is this one. If I double click on it, I'll be able to name it, and this is going to be horizontal. Sorry, horizontal, because it's sideways. All right, so that's our first horizontal. I need to turn everything but the horizontal one off. So now I can see it. I'm going to click back to the top view. I'm going to rotate mine down sideways. I think it's easier to work with this way. And then I'm going to add a rectangle along the back side. This is the front side. This is the back side. So I'm going to click here. This one's going to be 2 centimeters wide. And then thickness is going to be thickness times 2. Remember, we want to go through the back a little bit. Hit enter. I'm going to grab my midpoint tool, click here, click there, and I'm going to be able to get it centered on the back. I'm going to do create rectangular pattern, and I'm going to choose that object, that one, and I'm going to drag it right out to the edge. Just a hair over the edge. So I'm going to do a little closer than that even. Like, oof, wow, that's like almost perfect. I think that might be, oh, that's almost perfect. I'm going to leave it just like that. That's beautiful. And then I'm going to come over here and see that there's the number that's changing. So I'm dealing with this, so symmetric. And I'm going to kick this up. I think 9 is what we did before. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So this is about the same size as that. I'm going to click OK. Now I can go ahead and extrude these out and kill them. So I'm going to hit extrude, and I'm going to kill this one, this one, this one, and just take out all of these. I'm going to type in negative thickness for the depth because I want to go back into it, not towards me. Let me make sure I've got the right direction going. Oh, sorry, I didn't hit enter here. So thickness. And yep, that works. Negative thickness works. And hit enter, OK. And I'm going to go back up to home. And I'm going to turn everything back on and see what I have so far. All right, so if I rotate to the back corner, I can see, okay, I've got these tabs sticking out just like they're supposed to. We can put a nice glue joint right in this little space here and hide the glue from the front of the cabinet, so that's all good. And now what we need to do is cut in those sort of, that's kind of a scissor joint on the front. So here we're going to come to home view again. I'm going to create a new sketch for that, and I want to create that sketch on the same surface right here. Except now I need to know, so I just pop into the top, go back to my home view. I need to know where all these pieces are crossing at. So I'm going to use this great tool. Once I've created my sketch, I can come here and create, project, include, and do an intersect one. What that does is it shows me where this piece intersects. See the rectangle that drew up there? It shows me that's where it passes through. So on all of these, I can do that and do the pass through and click OK. Now it's drawn all those rectangles for me. So I need to turn everything off except that first horizontal one and the vertical ones. And now I need to switch over to the top and I can cut all these off. Now this, I'm going to make this so that the cut is towards the front here because some of them, like the backs, don't go all the way out sometimes. So I'm going to make the part I cut right now to the front so it's the same edge on all of them. I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to come here and grab a line tool and I'm going to find the midpoint of this line. See where it says like the triangle? So scrape along that line till you find the midpoint and then draw a line straight over. Then go to this one, find the same point and do it for each one of them. Awesome. Yes. And you can see this, like I'm getting this blue dotted line. That's not me clicking anything. That's just Fusion 360 thinking that I want to line all these up and helping me with that process. So there they all lined up. Now I'm going to cut them. So extrude, I'm going to choose this front section of them. Make sure I have all of them. Yep. And I'm going to do a negative thickness here. Tip to my it said depth. That was weird. So I'm going to go a negative thickness, enter, yep, there, and then hit enter, and now I've cut them. So you can see what I've cut is this piece, and then the other piece will have to go on top of it. And we'll use this piece to cut the other ones. All right, so I'm going to turn everything back on. This piece, oh, it's not quite ready yet. We still need to cut the two edges in here. So I'm going to cut tabs in this edge. So I'm going to create another sketch right on top of it. I'm going to turn everything off except this horizontal piece. So turn all the verticals off too. And now I'm going to come down here and cut this piece in. And I'm thinking through like what I want to do. I want there to be a little piece of wood here so it supports the front of the shelf. So I'm going to cut a hole here and a hole here. So I don't know, let's just play around. Let's just do like this. So this should be thickness on this side. And then right now, let's just make this 0.5. We can always change it later. And we're going to add another one of those in here. So this is thickness, and this is 0.5. And then let's come here and dimension it. So we want to have this box, say half a centimeter away from the edge, 0.5 from the edge. And I'm going to change something real quick. So I made both of these 0.5. What I really want them to do is be the same. So I'm actually going to leave that one 0.5, double click on this one, and then instead of changing the number, I'm going to click on this other measurement. And now it's linked those two measurements together. So enter. So now anytime I change this one, say I want to do 1, it automatically changes that one as well. So that's kind of a cool little feature that you can link these two things together. So let's go back to 0.5 real quick. The other thing I want to do is I want to do a dimension, and I want to do this one to this one. So I want to do this distance right here, and I want it to be the same as this front distance. Enter. And then now I can start playing around with some stuff. So this distance is too small, so I'm going to change this one and make it 1 centimeter. That's too much. I'm going to change it to be 0.75, and then this one also to be 0.75. See how that looks. Yeah, that looks terrific. Like that's kind of what I'm wanting to see. There's a little part here that's going to just poke out, kind of weirdish, but I think that'll be good. I think that's good. I'm going with it. Am I going with it? I'm not going with it. I'm going with it. Yeah, I'm going with it. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now I need to do the exact same thing over here on this side. I don't quite remember what I did, but let me see if I can put it back together again. Oops. So I almost just created a new sketch, which would have been a problem. I don't want two sketches on top of each other. So I got out of my sketch somehow, so I'm going to go back in and edit my sketch. So now I'm back into this sketch, and I see 0.75, 0.75, 0.7. Oh, so they're all 0.75. So that's easy to recreate. So I'm going to create a rectangle here. I'm going to call it, that side's thickness. This side is 0.75. Enter. Create another one, just randomly on here somewhere. Thickness and 0.75. I'm going to use the dimensioning tool, so it takes 3 clicks. So I'm going to use D. I'm going to click on the first thing I want to measure, the second thing I want to measure, and then I'm going to go over here and click again to place the measurement. And I'm going to call that 0.75. Same thing here. I'm going to click on the first thing I want to measure. I want to do it to this back part here. And then over here is where I want to put the measurement. And I'm going to call that 0.75 as well. And yeah, I think I'm good. So finish sketch. I've got those pieces there, those there. I just need to extrude this now. So E for extrude. I'm going to cut that piece and that piece, and that piece and that piece. I think that's okay. I'm going to do a negative thickness, enter here, and then back out this way. And now I'm going to turn everything else back on. See how that looks. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. That doesn't look very nice. I'm going to live with it, but if you wanted to go back and adjust yours so it didn't look like, I would make these two, I'd make this, I don't know what I would do. I would make that look nicer, but I've got to keep moving. I don't want to bore you with the video. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is copy this one. So I'm going to do the M for move copy command. Click on, nope, that's not right. Cancel that. I don't want to move copy. I want to pattern it actually. It'll be more control. So create, pattern, rectangular pattern, because I don't want to just make one of them. I want to make a bunch of them. And this allows me to make a bunch of them. So I'm going to click on, make sure it says bodies here. Click on the thing I want to pattern. And then when it says, I'm going to click on direction here. Click on one of these vertical lines right here, and that'll bring me down this way. And now I need to make 5 of them in total. So I'm going to change the 3 to a 5. And then this here is going to be the height plus a thickness. And then click enter. Now, oh my gosh, we're getting to where we can actually see what we're making. This is the thing that we're making. So now all we need to do is cut in all these holes. Let me show you what I mean by that. So if I click M for move and I grab my back piece and I drag it off, there's all these tabs but no holes for all those tabs to go in. So I'm going to hit cancel here, put this piece back on. We need to cut all those holes. And the nice thing is it's super easy to do. Before we do that though, let's clean this back. Let's clean this up over here. So I'm going to right click on bodies and choose new group here. And double click on my new group name, and then I'm going to call this one horizontal. And then I'm going to grab everything but the back and put it in there because these are all the horizontal pieces. So I shift clicked on the bottom to get all of them, and then I'm going to drag them and drop them in horizontal. So now I've got the vertical, horizontal, and the back. Those 3 major sections. Now I'm going to do a cut command. So here's how it works. We're going to go modify. We're going to say we want our target body. That's the thing that we're cutting. And we want to cut the back piece. So I can just click on the back over here. I'm going to cut the back piece. And then what am I going to cut the back piece with? Well, I want to cut in all of these sides back. Everything's got to cut into it. So I'm going to choose for my tool body, that's what I'm doing the cutting with, the vertical. Oops, I got to open the thing up. Highlight, shift click on the bottom one, open this one up, click the top one, shift click the bottom one. Now everything is doing it. Now it thinks you want to join it, which is going to like glue it all together. We don't want that. We want to change join to cut. And you can see all the tool bodies except those. Can I not get both of those? Oh, so I can only do that many at a time or something. I don't know. Maybe I can do... Okay, so I can only do some. So I'll do all the verticals first. So I'm going to cut all the vertical ones in first. I'm going to cut them into the body, and I'm going to do what's called keep tools. If I don't click keep tools, all these red things will disappear after I do the cut, but I want them to stay. So 1 target, 7 selected, click OK. Now if I do the move command and I move the bottom out of the way, I can see now I've got holes for all the vertical ones cut. I just need to cut the horizontal ones now. So I'm going to say cancel that to put it back. And now I'm going to do another combine tool. The target body, I'm going to cut the back, and I'm going to cut the back with all the vertical ones. And I'm going to make sure it says keep tool, cut, and I'm going to say okay. I just cut it. Now if I move the back out of the way, we can see here that it has oh, you know what we did? Oh no, we cut. Yeah. We cut all the tabs off the edges. So we have to do it. This is going to be a little more complicated. Let's go back and do it over again. So Control Z to undo all of those cuts. Make sure you get back to the point where when you drag this out of the way, there are no holes, but there are tabs along the edges. All right, so that's it. So what we want to do is we want to cut all the middle ones into this, but the back, the tops, all the sides and the top and bottom need to be cut by this tool. They need to get cut instead of this one be cut. So let's do that. Wow, that's complicated. Okay, so I'm going to do the combine tool again, and I'm going to click on this target body here. That's what I'm cutting. And my tool bodies now aren't going to be the right side or the left side. We want to leave those out of it. So unclick those and just click on the verticals. And you might be able to get all the horizontals too. There may be, yeah, don't have the top, bottom, or right, left be in this. And that's, I'm cutting with 10 things I'm going to cut. I'm going to keep the tools and click OK. Now watch what happens. When I move it, I have all the holes still, and I also have all the tabs still. So I'm going to say OK. Oh, nope. Control Z. I want to undo that move. All right. Now I need to cut the tabs from the back into this front side. I need to cut the top side next. And the top side is going to have multiple things cut into it. Notice I want to have, well, I don't know actually which one I want. I'm going to move the top out of the way a little bit. Yeah. So I'm going to take all these vertical pieces. I'm going to cut holes into it with this and use the back to cut into it. So all of these things, everything except the bottom cuts into the top. So cancel that move. I'm going to come up here to the combine tool. That's the top thing, is the top is what I want to cut. So that's my target body. My tool bodies, I want to have all of the vertical ones. And I want the back to cut into it as well. So all the vertical and back, but none of the horizontal ones. And I'm going to say, okay. And now if I move this out of the way, it should have a place for everything. Yep, there's all the little holes there, and then there's the holes for the back piece, all the holes for the middle ones and the outside one. Okay, cancel that move. And now I gotta do the same thing for the bottom. So I'm gonna do a combine tool. I'm gonna say target body. And now I'm going to have my tool bodies are all the vertical ones. Shift click on the bottom one and click on the back. So again, all of the vertical ones, but none of the horizontals are cutting it. And I'm going to say keep tools. Yep. Okay. And that one should be cut. I'm going to do a quick move just to make sure. Yep. There's the two sides all across the bottom and then all the middle ones. Great. Cancel. It's better now to make sure that you got them all, because if you cut it with the laser and you've missed some of them, there won't be a hole for the thing to go in, and then you're just like, I can't build it. Or you're standing off something. It's a nuisance. Now I've got to cut the two sides, because if I go in here and move, I have some of the parts, but I need to have the top and bottom's already done. I need to put in all the middle ones and the back one. Horizontal middles and backs. All right, so here, combine this one, and I want to cut with all the horizontals except the top and bottom. Horizontal middles and the back. Okay, do the same thing on this one. All the horizontal middles and the back, and okay. Now I'm just going to move both of these just to check to make sure I got everything cut in properly. Grab it, pull it out here. I've got the top and bottom cut. I've got the middle ones all cut, and then some in the back cut as well. Okay, and then move and drag this one out of the way. I've got slots in the back here. I've got all the middle ones in the top and bottom, and cancel. Now I've got the whole thing cut. We are ready to flatten this thing out and laser it. In the next video, I'll show you how to flatten it out, get cut lines, take those cut lines to the next program, which is called Inkscape, and then from there, it's straight to the laser cutter. Hang in there, you're doing great.